Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DiPietro and Bob Zagami.
Good afternoon, sir.
Well, I'm not the host. This is your show tonight. I'm the guest.
Oh, that's right. You are our esteemed guest tonight. So I should act like the official host. But before we do that, let's give due credit to our friends at Seacoast RV. I'm looking for a new slide. Seacoast RV is up on Route 1 in Saco, Maine, creating family fun on Route 1. And they've just announced this first-class experience when you're purchasing a first-class RV. They sell Winnebago motorhomes, and if you purchase any in-stock motorhome, they're offering 2 first-class plane tickets, an overnight stay in a hotel, and a first-class meal for 2 at a local restaurant to anyone who purchases a new in-stock Winnebago motorhome. So we'll open with that one, and that's something a little bit different for them. So welcome to the show, Mr. DiPietro. We're really fortunate to have you as our guest tonight. This one is a little bit different because you're in the spotlight, and you are launching next week the very first Do It Now Tour 22, because we hope to do this every year. Why don't you tell our fans what Do It Now Tour is and how it came about?
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Zagami. It's a pleasure to be here on RVing New England. I've heard so much about the show, and I've only heard good things. My only concern is that you're the only one questioning me, and that other guy who's usually here is not questioning me. And I kind of heard that he was really the star of the show. But you know what? Look,
well, he's not available this week, so we kind of had to go to the gene pool and see what was available out there.
Gene pool. Wow, look at I'm like fading away here into the
little
whatever.
background. Yeah.
But thank you so much, Mr. Zagami, for being on the show. And let me move over here so you can read the Do It Now Tour 22. And here's the story. You know what? I've been around this news media business for a long, long time, and you got to admit that so much of what you see in the media today, see, hear, read, view on social media, it's negative. And everybody started saying, they even invented this term called nearcation. Remember, it used to be staycation. Now it's nearcation.
Right.
Everybody's saying the world is going to end because gas prices are high. Well, you know, gas prices have been high in Canada for years. Not that I espouse having high gas prices. They've been high in Europe as well, but people still go about their lives. Now, what it all boils down to is when I started hearing the negative news about postponing that vacation, don't go this year, I said, wait a minute, this is insane. Yesterday is a canceled check. Tomorrow's a promissory note. The only day that we have, the only time that we have, regardless of whether we're talking about RVing or whatever, is the present. So I said to my wife and oldest granddaughter, who has been RVing with us for 10 years now, she's 12 years old. Back in right around Christmas time, she said, Papa and Nana, can we go from Maine to Florida? And shockingly, my wife said yes. And I said, yay. And she said, yes.
And then she said, I hope you and your grandfather have a nice time.
Yeah, exactly. You and your granddaughter have that. Exactly. So what it all boils down to is I said, look, these kids, I mean, she's 12 years old. Who knows if this time next year she'll want to hang around with the grandparents? Who knows what the health will be of all parties concerned? And you read so much about all these RVers that put off retirement, that put off going full time, that put off buying that RV. Then something catastrophic happened in their lives. And I know one lady who said, we planned for 4 years to buy an RV, sell our house, and go on a trip. And then 3 months before our scheduled departure date, my husband had a stroke. And the only place we go now is to the rehab facility. So I said, you know what, man, we got to do it now. And then I said, geez, that's the title of a good country song. We got to do it now. And I didn't steal it with Reebok, which was just do it. But now is the only time, folks. And you know what? Don't put it off. Go. You might not go as long as you had originally planned. But what it all boils down to is it is mentally insane to cancel your vacation for whatever reason. Most people work 50 weeks to get 2 weeks off, or 48 weeks to get 40, or to get 4 weeks off. You have to go on vacation. And so we're doing.
So you're going to be gone almost a month, June 23rd to July 22nd. So that's actually more than enough time to write a country song.
Yeah. Although I used to hang around with people that wrote country songs.
Let's see who's here tonight. Dante's here.
Oh, I might be meeting. I think Dante's going to be in Elkhart next week.
Yes, he is going to the RVTI training course for level 1 training. He will be there when you are there.
Yeah.
Dan's here greeting. Oh, Jerry's. That's right. I forgot. Jerry's around the corner. He's over here at Daly's. I keep forgetting he's over there. I was going to go over and have a beer with him. Using the new
Travel-Fi.
Oh, that was the thing that Mike Perry showed us last time he was on.
That's not Starlink, though.
No.
Okay.
Right. Bernie Colleton's on from Campers Inn. Hello, Bernie. Tom Zabrowski. And Lisa says hello. And Lisa has a question. I'll ask you the question, John. Are you stopping in Mass? Because I'd love to meet you and see the RV. Well, we hadn't thought of doing road stops, but
I think what we're doing, Lisa, is we're heading. It will go into the scheduling, but we're leaving Campers Inn, and we've got a campsite thanks to our friends at Blue Water Development down in Cape May, New Jersey, on Thursday night, and then we're heading over into Delaware on the Cape May Lewis Ferry. Now, for those of you that are not, who don't want to drive the Jersey Turnpike and drive around Newark, and Wilmington, Delaware, and go through Baltimore and Washington, that Cape May Ferry is a great way to avoid that. So that's what we're doing. Let's see what else. Wait a minute. I'm not the guest. I mean, I'm only the guest.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
You're the guest. Jerry Plant says, no one ever lay on their deathbed wishing they had spent another day at work. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
Bernie says he'll help you write the song. Bernie's written songs before, so a lot of help out there for you. Frank here from the south of New Hampshire line and north of the Cape, but I'm here. You are here, and that's good to hear. Let me show you. What John has to put up with while he's on the trip. I mean, somebody had to do it, but
somebody has to do it.
Right. Well, tell them what you got there, John.
So if you can take Frank's thing down, they can see it a little bit better. But Mr. Zagami, through his extensive contacts in the industry, wrote a note to our friend Brian Clemens from Forest River saying, would you be interested in providing a motorhome for the trip? And we thought maybe we'd get a FR3 or one of their Class C Sprinter-based units and Brian went, well, how do you say, Bob? Over and above.
Over and above
He exceeded our expectations.
Right.
So we're going to be traveling with that. We'll have some banners for the side of it, so everybody will know. But you know what? I see Mark Polk. Hey, maybe we'll just take a detour because we're going around Myrtle. We don't know yet exactly. I kind of planned half the trip, and I'm going to freelance half the trip. Maybe if the Polks are around, we'll head by their place in North Carolina.
Well, they could probably come over to 95 if you were staying. Mark, how far off 95 are you?
Oh, he's way off 95. He's way on the other side. Yeah,
he's on the other side.
We're going to head that way because we're going to head over that Myrtle way. We're coming off the.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you might be over the coastal route.
We've got to stop in Selma, North Carolina, is our second Campers Inn spot, and the only thing that concerns me about going to all these other Campers Inn spots is Bernie's not going to be at them, and we have the greatest amount of respect for Bernie as one of America's top RV salespeople. And he's not really a salesperson. He's an RV education person.
Yeah.
He's an RV education 101 person. How's that? Can I use that term?
Yeah, you can.
Will I get a
Mark will sue you because you violated his copyright. So you probably would be better off not doing it or paying Mark a licensing fee for you to use it when you have these crazy ideas. Lisa, I just had a thought, and actually this applies to anybody. I'm sure
right.
Bernie and the other boys won't have this, but let me find the note that I want here.
And while you're doing that, we really have to thank Campers Inn RV for stepping up as a sponsor. And the beauty of it is, and one of the things you need to know when you buy an RV is buying the RV is one time, but service after the sale or service capability after the sale is another thing. And I think Campers Inn is up to 36 or 37 stores now. They keep buying them.
They just announced another one this week. They bought Dylan's RV in New Jersey.
New Jersey and Pennsylvania. There's 2 locations there, right? One in Jersey and one across the line. But you know what? If you go from New Hampshire to Florida, there is a Campers Inn somewhere nearby Interstate 95. And the interesting thing about Campers Inn is that different stores have different brands and models. So, if you have a fifth wheel and you want to go to a travel trailer and you want to go to motorized, check with Bernie and he'll tell you what stores to go to. He'll split the commission, but he'll tell you what stores to go to.
Yeah. And I'm sure Bernie and Campers Inn wouldn't mind, but John is going to be leaving June 23rd. I don't know the time yet. But if you wanted to meet him, Lisa, you could run over to Campers Inn in Merrimack and you could meet Bernie, who's also going to be there. The management at Campers Inn will be there. We're hoping to get some local coverage. I'll be there shooting some videos of him hopping in the rig and driving off, but that's going to be the launch of the tour. Or
I think I met Lisa at Lisa, didn't we meet at Majors a couple years ago? I think we met at Majors.
I think we did. I think she went to one of the open houses.
Open houses, yeah. Yeah. Lisa, we got to get you into an RV. We appreciate you watching the show, but you'll enjoy watching the show much more if you're an RV owner.
That's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's correct. Maria's on. Thank you, Maria. She's out in Arizona this week.
Yeah, I never found a campground.
Arizona.
Campground. Let's do it. Life is short. I'll be there. That's right, Lisa.
Frank says, how about driving through the Delaware Water Gap?
Interesting. We did that on the last trip back from Florida. And it's very nice there. We're around Stroudsburg, PA, and everything. So we're going down. We're hugging the east. We're trying to stay east of 95 on the way down till we get to Charleston. and then we'll come up 95 and go a little bit to the west on the way back. But the beauty of this whole thing is, and I said this before, folks. Well, let me ask our audience. Well, no, wait a minute, Bob, you're the go. I'm not the guest.
I was going to say, Uncle Bernie is very astute.
What did he? Wow, nice, a little upscale for. Hey, as long as it's got a microwave, Bernie, I can cook gourmet meals.
Bernie, do you realize how many cases of Chef Boyardee he could put in the storage holding compartments of that rig?
Yeah. Well, it's not that many because we're going to have a lot of brochures from Campers Inn that we're going to distribute to people along the East Coast. But the thing I was saying before, the beauty of camping is that you don't have to camp. You don't have to go out of campground every night if it's not convenient for you, or like right now it's at 4th of July, we don't have a campground because we switched the route a little bit. So we're working on that right now. And Lisa wants to meet with John and me with John and Lisa on the 23rd. RV Trip Wizard is absolutely amazing in that I'm not a techie by any means, but I got on RV Trip Wizard. I know Walter Swenson has used RV Trip Wizard. In fact, he's even offered to give me a tutorial on it, but it's so easy that I didn't need it. Folks, if you're going to travel, if you're going to travel anywhere, RV Trip Wizard is amazing. I mean, I just put in our starting point in New Hampshire and our ending point somewhere in Florida, and it gave me the route. And I had to put in, for our Dynamax, I had to put in the how big the fuel tank was and expected gas mileage. It will even tell me where to stop for gas. And if you use Gas Buddy, it will tell you how much to pay for gas. And you see the Blue Water Development up there and the Sun Outdoors logo up there. They are campgrounds that we'll be using along with KOA. And Easy Care. Bob, tell people what Easy Care is, because the name itself doesn't really.
Our dealers, right. Our dealers offer Easy Care products for their customers. And it could be a standard extended warranty type product. It could be tire and wheel protection. It could be interior and exterior protection. And they also offer the dealers a maintenance contract on a preventive maintenance contract on pre-owned RV. So if you were buying a pre-owned RV, your dealer could offer you an extended and a preventive maintenance contract on that particular RV. So they are used by the best dealers in this country, and some of the mega dealers that you read about, they actually private label some of these Easy Care products in bundles of products that they offer to the customers. But this is, if you trace the history of Easy Care, they were at one time Ford Motor Credit, GMC, GMC Credit, and then GM sold that division off, and it's now part of what they call APCO Holdings. But Easy Care does RV and car dealerships. In fact, why don't we do this, John? I'll put the big slide up, and you can kind of walk around the screen and tell them about the different sponsors. Well, we're calling them supporters.
Okay, good. Okay. So obviously Dynamax is providing the unit. Campers Inn is providing support along the way. RV Trip Wizard is telling us where to turn left, where to turn right. And as Jerry said about make sure the gas stops. And I think RV Trip Wizard has that as well.
Well, if you run out of Chef Boyardee, can you search Trip Wizard to find stores that sell Chef Boyardee near your route?
I'll tell you, if not, I will call Andy Rabinowitz up because I have his personal cell phone and have him include that as a special feature. Imagine how many RV Trip Wizard apps they could sell if the special never run out of Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, probably one and only to you.
To me. Blue Water Development is an interesting company. They own a couple KOAs up in Lebanon, Maine, and Salmon Falls, Maine and New Hampshire, right near Winnipesaukee. And we found out about them a year ago or 2 years ago, when they offered free camping at one of their KOA campgrounds down in the Outer Banks to first responders. And I thought it was a great offer, and then found out that they own campgrounds in New England. But they're kind of new to the game. They've been in it for about 10 years. They are real estate developers that bought a campground. Listen to this story. They bought a campground in order to tear it down to put in a strip mall. And before they tore it down, they started looking at the numbers and said, hey, wait a minute, there's some cash flow here. And now they operate 36 properties throughout the country, from the Atlantic to the Pacific and from Maine to Florida. So
that's all within about 2 years, and they actually formed a campground division.
Yep.
It's going so well for them.
Yep, for managing. And then our friends Bennett Woodall, and Rick Kessler at RV Business. It's only natural. They're the Bibles of the industry, both from the RV side of it as well as the campground end of it. They're our media sponsors, and of course, New England RV Dealers Association, which is us, all of us. So, right. You know what? We're really looking forward to it. And if any of you have any tips on places that we shouldn't miss, now we are stopping at a Buc-ee's, and maybe twice. We might stop at once on the way down. I hear the new one in Florence, South Carolina is open. So depending upon the time of day, we'll either have a barbecue beef sandwich, or maybe barbecue beef and eggs. So
the brisket.
The brisket, that's right. The brisket sandwich.
Yeah. You skipped one of them, Sun Outdoors.
Oh, Sun Outdoors, yeah. They're partners with Blue Water Development, and they have, I think they have 70 properties up and down the East Coast. And, they have, actually, we just stayed at one, Sun Outdoors Wells Beach Resort, the former Wells Beach campground. And they are marvelous operators. They're national people, and they come in and add a lot of technology to the business, and upgrade the standards of some of the properties that were possibly family owned for 2 generations. And
well, they've got 2 right near me here in Old Orchard
right.
Beach.
Right.
They have Wild Acres, and it's interesting. On Wild Acres, the sign says Sun Retreat. So I think they're trying to do.
They got different divisions,
segmentation like KOA does.
Exactly.
Wild Acres is Sun Retreats, and what was Hidden Pines on Cascade Road, right around the corner from me, that is Sun Outdoors. But they've got those 2, and then they got, like you said, they got a couple. I think 1 or 2 down in Wells. They like Maine. They do very well up in Maine.
Yeah, I think Wild Acres was that former NASCAR resort. It
was when it was owned by the Morgan Group when they tried to franchise NASCAR campgrounds, and that went down in flames. That was not a good deal for NASCAR to license them at that point. Let me see who's got some. I'm going to start back at the bottom again. Cape Cod Camp Resort in Falmouth on Cape Cod is now a Sun.
Right, in Falmouth, right, East Falmouth.
Monica. Oh, thank you for apologizing, Monica. I noticed that Ryan Hadley forgot to apologize for being late.
Ryan's on his way.
The brisket morning wrap or sandwich. Oh, a morning wrap. I know that. Well, I was there in the afternoon, so I didn't miss that. But brisket morning wrap sounds like it could be pretty good.
Yeah, and the beauty of Buc-ee's is I can pull that 33-foot, 12-foot high, 12.9 high motorhome in there, and have plenty of room without having to worry about taking the tanks down.
Yeah. So Ryan, you forgot to apologize, and I sent you two customers this week, and ironically, both of them were up at Minuteman in Littleton, up on 495. Both of them.
What was he saying?
maybe one talk to the other. Jerry, Hilton Head Island Motor Coach Resort, are you putting that up there because it's a sun or a blue water development, or just someplace for John to stay?
I'll have to write that one down.
Yeah. Did you get it? Hilton Head Motor Coach.
Yeah.
Jim Roy, hey guys, sorry I'm late. Popping in to say hi and back to work to go back to the shop for a last minute emergency repair. Where's Ryan? He's here, Jim, but he was late. He just forgot.
He's on his way.
Where's Ryan when you need? I thought you were saying where's Ryan tonight. No, where's Ryan when you need him? Well, maybe he does. Maybe he does phone consultations, Jim. If you need, I'm sure you got his phone number. But if you need it, text me and I will get that over to you. So let's get creative, guys, and get some questions for John here and see what kind of questions come up. I think, John, you're going to be gone about 30 days. About 30 days.
Yeah.
And if you go by the Walter Swenson trip planning software, he makes it in about 14 or 15 hours. So, do you have longer stops in the journey where you might be spending a few days or sightseeing? What does Mila want to do on the trip?
Well, Mila, as long as there's water, Mila is excited. I wanted to have her on the show tonight, but tomorrow's her last day of school, so she had a couple friends over. So the way it works is our longest stint is basically from New Hampshire to New Jersey, because we got to go around New York City. And I didn't want to try to make the ferry on Thursday night because who knows what could happen in that metro New York area. But the other trips, Bob, are generally between 40 and 70 miles from each other. So we've got, Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and then 3 in Maryland. And we're stopping in at the Blue Water Development offices in Ocean City to do an interview with them.
That's great. Yeah. Yep.
Then we're going to their park in, there's one just before that Delaware, not the Delaware Bridge, but what's the bridge where you go?
Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel.
Chesapeake Bay Bridge and Tunnel. And then I don't know, I think, then we go to Outer Banks and then back to Selma. And Bernie asked about other stops. Selma, we're visiting, Bernie, we're visiting Selma, we're visiting Charleston, we're visiting Jacksonville, and I think Myrtle Beach is the 4th. I've got them all
in Jacksonville. You're going to try to get an interview with either Jeff Hirsch or Ben Hirsch, right?
Right.
There's the headquarters there.
Yep. And the thing is, they're a New England-based company. This makes it a lot easier to work with them because, again, Bob, tell the story about how Campers Inn started. I'm sorry, I'm the co-host. I'm sorry, I'm the guest. I can't tell the host what to do.
Jeff's father and mother, Art and Fran Hirsch, and he was a machinist, and he wanted to buy a camper for his family, and went to several dealerships, and he had his work clothes on, his jeans and his shirt, and he was a hardworking man providing for the family, and he was treated like a non-customer. They didn't believe it. And he was very upset. He was upset, number one, that any business would treat the customer that way. And it was the basis for forming Campers Inn because they went out and bought campers and opened up a dealership on the front lawn of their house in Acton, Mass. And this is a great American success story. You buy a couple of products, you put them on your lawn, and you sell them. And here you are 55 years later. That was 1959. Well, 50 plus years later, with, I think Dillon's makes it 36 dealerships across the country. And they have just picked up one in Arizona Debbie Brunaforti in a dealership called Little Dealer, Little Prices. And she's
Yeah.
going to be the VP for the West region. And they're now going to start filling in the West region. So it's a great success story. And we appreciate this support of the program. It's a natural fit. They got, probably 23 of them are within, say, 20 miles of 95 from their New Hampshire locations down to their Florida locations. So it's a good marriage, and we look forward to it. And you'll be able to follow, if you're interested in following the trip. Nerved is going to be posting it, I won't say every day, but there'll be videos throughout the trip on our social media platforms. We will be talking about it every week on the show. RV Business and Woodall's is our media partner, so they'll have access to the videos, as will Campers Inn, and we believe Campers Inn will have a significant social media campaign for their Facebook and social media fans also. So let us do this. I have a surprise for you after the commercial, but even though you're the guest, John, I don't want to take it too far out of your element because you might not be able to handle it. But
Wait. I'm not getting paid for this show,
so I'll let you do the commercial.
I'm getting paid,
so you feel good.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, he's not our new sponsor, but they are a sponsor. It's Seacoast RVs in Saco, Maine, or if you're not from here, you'd say Saco, Maine. But I was up there a couple weeks ago, and I saw Amanda, and I saw Kenny, and my grandkids were running through the homes. They had 15 homes there, but only one of them was open. 15 park models there, because the other 14 were sold already. And they've got the elevation products that are coming in. They kind of get sold before they even get there. But you know what? I believe that park models are the hidden gem within the campground lifestyle. And they've got the Winnebago products. They got the Travato. They've got a couple Revels up there that they had last week. And I know they've got that great value that I don't know the specific details, but they'll send, if you come to buy one of those things, they'll send you 2 first class, not coach, airline tickets, and put you up in a hotel, not a Motel 6. There we go. Hotel, first class meal for 2 at a local hamburger restaurant to anyone purchases a new in-stock Winnebago motorhome. Come see the beautiful coast of southern Maine. And that is really to attract the national audience. You wouldn't want to fly first class from Boston to Portland. That probably wouldn't be your best bet. Or from Albany to Boston. But you know what? They're our friends, and they're our sponsors, and we appreciate them. I bought my propane up there. I didn't ask for a freebie, which is kind of surprising because normally I do.
All right, let me give you a little surprise, because you're probably sitting there wondering, how is John going to do the show while he's doing all of these, traveling every day, getting back to campgrounds and what have you. And he wanted to be on the show every week, but that's asking a lot of his family. This is also his vacation and taking Mila out. And I didn't want him to have to be saddled with, every Wednesday night at 7:00, I have to be on the show. So I want you to welcome Uncle Bernie Culleton from Campers Inn RV in Merrimack, New Hampshire. And Bernie, some of you may know, but Bernie is a celebrity of his own right. He had a podcast called All Things RV with Bernie Culleton and friends. And it's in a suspense mode right now. You're taking a little break off of that. So as part of our Campers Inn support program, I thought, you know what?
Hold on. Again. Well, that's right. I'm the guest. I can't do it. But what's Bernie got in front of him?
No timeouts, John.
What's in front of him?
He's probably having.
I'm sorry, but
Go
Bob,
ahead, Bernie.
you interrupted me. I was doing inventory. I knew I was going to be on the show tonight, so I wanted to make sure I had plenty of supplies. So I got one bottle of Irish whiskey here. I got a second bottle of Irish whiskey over here. And now I got some Maker's Mark II, which will fill in the blanks. But these boys have a lot of work to do tonight if I'm going to be on this show, for sure.
Well, it sounds like
Bernie,
you've already made friends.
There's only one
Really good friends.
There's only one problem with that, Bernie.
What's that?
Are you telling me you don't have any Jack Daniels there?
I don't, and I know, you had me on the show. You gave me fair notice. You called me like a half hour ago. I could have ran down to the packy.
I should rip up your contract, Bernie. But I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, so I'll keep going. So everybody, Bernie is going to sit in John's chair. He cannot fill his shoes, but he's going to be my co-host.
He's only a size 8, for God's sake.
Yeah. He is going to be the co-host with me for the next 4 weeks, and John will call in for a segment. But if he's in a situation where he's having dinner or he's had a long road day, he's going to send us a video to play that night. And it might be a camper that he interviewed or someplace that he wants. So John will be on the show every week, either in person or with a video. But my co-host for the next 4 weeks is Uncle Bernie.
Yay! I'm real excited about it, folks. It's going to be great talking to you all and talking to John, and he's going to be visiting all the Campers Inn. He's going to be starting his tour right at Campers Inn at Merrimack, where I reside, and hopefully we've got a chance to meet Lisa that day. That would be fantastic. And we'll meet up with probably Greg and Eddie as well. I mean, we got some fantastic folks that work there, and we can't wait to share our time with you and with John on this wonderful tour for sure.
Bernie, you've already done an amazing feat. You went from the audience to a co-host in one show.
In probably less
than less
than 30 minutes.
Within a show.
I'm really happy to be joining you folks. It's a great opportunity. And thanks for teasing me with that. I didn't bring my rocks glass upstairs. My wife is like, you're not going to drink on that show. I'm like, well, Bob drinks on the show. Why can't I drink on the show? It makes all the sense in the world.
And he drinks for a couple hours before the show, too, in order to get ready for that.
Gets them all warmed up, so to speak.
Well, I've got my purified water here.
Okay. Purified vodka.
Well, let's see who's checked in. I'm going to go to the bottom and work my way back up. I thought I saw Michael had a comment here. I got to go find that one.
He did.
Bernie, howdy from Dante.
Hey, Dante. How are you, buddy?
This happened. Maria says that happened to hubby and I. We were treated that way when we were in an RV. And they thought we were too young and didn't expect that we were buying it anymore. Allison, you couldn't afford this or whatever. And we're like, we already ordered ours. That's wow. Unfortunate. Fran Roberts, God bless him, he's passed away last year, but he used to tell a story when sometimes somebody in jeans and overalls or the perception people have of who can buy it. And we know that and Bertie, you'll tell it because you're on the other side of the desk.
Absolutely.
The worst mistake a salesperson can make is to prejudge somebody that walks through that door. And Fran Roberts told a story where a gentleman was on the lot and he was a little scruffy and, some might question his dress. And so the salespeople didn't want to go out. Even the guys that had the ups and didn't want to go out. So Fran said, well, I'll go out. And when Fran got done with him, the guy had a suitcase full of money and he bought about a $400,000 motorhome. And he went back in and the salesman said, well, who's going to get the commission?
No commission on that one.
He said,
she is.
Exactly. There is no commission. When you start to treat every customer the same, regardless of how they dress or what they say or how they do it, they're a customer. They're in our house. Bernie, give me a philosophy on that because I know you're very successful up there. But
well, thank you for bringing that up because I tell you, one of the first times that I met Jeff, and I was very fortunate early on in my career that Jeff Hirsch resided at our store. And he used to preach that
Bernie,
constantly.
Bernie, you resided at his store. So you're as bad as DiPietro. See, DiPietro, he's a guest.
Turn a phrase there. I'm sorry. I mean, it's amazing with all the alcohol you consume, how you can maintain good linguistics. It's fantastic.
That's right.
But at any rate, so Jeff would sit us down and he would tell us the Art and Fran story over and over again and try to embed it into our brains. Do not judge people by the way they look, by the way they talk, by the way they walk, or anything else, because
how many teeth they have.
What's that?
Or how many teeth they have.
Or how many teeth they have. I have plenty of jokes about stuff like that. But the fact is that there's so many people out there with really diverse backgrounds, right? And diverse kind of, just lifestyles. And they want to go camping, and that's all that really matters. Can we help people go camping? That's our job, So when they call us, you're trying to come up with a name for us. We are RV matchmakers, and there's a good reason for that, because we talk to the people, we listen to them, we try to understand who they are so we can help them find the right RV for their needs. And sometimes I have trouble doing this, obviously, by shutting up and listening to them. They'll actually give you the information you need to help them. So
that's a surprise.
I heard a great story today that I won't mention the names, but a gentleman who happens to own a lot of automobile dealerships in New England, but he didn't own a Land Rover dealership. But his wife wanted a Land Rover, so he took her to a dealership and was going to buy her a Land Rover. And he was treated so poorly that he turned around and he bought the entire dealership and got rid of the people that didn't.
I'll show you.
And now his wife has a demo Land Rover. He didn't even have to buy it. I'm sure it cost him a lot more to buy the dealership than it would have to buy the car. But it is amazing what
it sounds like. It sounds like the old Victor Kiam one with the Remington shaver.
Remington razors, yeah.
Yep, exactly. But
so
Bernie,
let's wait a minute. We got a side conversation going. Lisa says only 1 hour drive from my house to Campers Inn. What time should I be there, John? That's your category.
Thursday, June 23rd, a week from tomorrow. We're scheduled to depart at 11, so we'll probably, if you're there scheduled to depart at 12. So if you're there at 10:30, Lisa, Bernie will have coffee and donuts for you.
Sounds like a great idea. I will. I'll keep my morning open for you, Lisa.
Oh, Bernie.
Jerry says sort of like
George started Major.
George Major started Major's RV with
right
parts and stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, Jerry has another one. Hard to believe somebody didn't.
How did you score this trip, John? How are you connected? It wasn't so much the scoring of the trip. John and I have a lot of connections in the industry. We deal with everybody from product managers and salespeople to CEOs, and it was never our intention to have supporters for the trip. He thought up the idea and we kind of laid it out, and then we said, well, maybe we can get some people to support it. And I think it's a tribute to John's reputation and his ability to communicate with people and RVers, and these companies never said no. I think we probably could have had twice as many supporters, but all we wanted was be able to cover the expenses for the trip, and what isn't spent that way will be put aside for next year's trip. That's why we called it 22, because we want to do something in 23. Maybe take one of his grandkids to a different part of the country, or I'll take my grandson somewhere. But
or maybe do a fall football trip. Who knows?
Yeah.
Down south where the big time football, big time college football.
Oh yeah, college ball down south is amazing. I got my Texas Longhorn hat downstairs.
There you go. Yeah. But I think they appreciated, the work that John and I do at RVing in New England on the Camper Report show, and
right.
Dealers appreciate what we do at NERVDA. and it was just good. Good things happen to good people, so we're very fortunate, and we really appreciate their support of the program. And we will mention them frequently along the way, and do videos with campers. And when John calls in for his weekly visit, if it's not a call, it'll be a video. But if it's a weekly visit, I'm going to let Bernie handle that interview. And then, because part of the program is John will stop at a Campers Inn RV location once a week. Now, maybe it'll be twice in 1 week, and they skip the week. It depends on, there's four visits to different Campers Inns. And the Jacksonville location does sell the Duramax, as does, did she say South? I think she said
Dylan
RV.
You mentioned.
And the new one, Dylan's RV, sells it down in New Jersey. And at the locations where they do not sell the Dynamax, we've asked the GMs to pull up a different Forest River product, because Forest River is, has really gone out of their way to make these accommodations for us. So maybe they'll rattle off a couple of different Forest River products, Bernie. I mean, you're one of the largest dealers in the country.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be carrying the Forest River lines and have such a great relationship with them. So in the travel trailers, we have Coachman Apex, Coachman Freedom Express. We have the Cherokee line with the Cherokee, the Gray Wolf, the Wolf Pup. We have Leprechaun, Freelander Class Cs. We have FR3, Forest River motorhome, and we also have Encore, which is another Coachman product. So we have Forest River products all over our lot, and we're very proud and happy to be carrying them for sure. Right. And at the Kingston store, they have the Rockwood, which is a fantastic product as well. Yeah,
we're product line. We're so blessed in New England that we had the capability to hook up with Campers Inn. I mean, we've been talking to them for a while about other things, and it's a natural marketing thing, not because I'm involved in it, but it's a natural marketing thing because of the geography that this trip is taking,
right?
And the fact that they'll get exposure during that time, and Bernie will be minding the seat there. And Bernie, maybe you can even wear an orange or green shirt from Campers Inn.
Yeah, well, blue and orange are our colors, right? So orange is our weekend color. They want the customers to be able to pick us out of a crowd for sure.
Okay.
And we do have those crowds, but I can always make sure you have a fresh new orange shirt for you when you get there.
And maybe one of the Wednesdays, I don't know, how long is the store open on Wednesday night?
We're open till 6, so that's a little early.
Maybe you can do one of your stores. Do the show from one of the shows.
Yeah, maybe they'll let me stay in a little bit later. We could do it from the showroom or whatever, or inside of a unit that's in the showroom.
Have Eddie on with you.
Absolutely.
Always
here's the thing, guys. We're just so blessed to have people like you and Bob, who look at Campers Inn as a good resource for people that follow you. And we want to be a good resource for you. And thanks for including us in this. So it's, we're as grateful, if not more so, than you are having us included in this. We're happy to be invited.
Well, we want to give a shout out to Megan Neighbors and Jessica Ward. And they put this whole thing together and presented it to management.
Short notice.
And very short notice. I mean, when you deal with big companies, sometimes this kind of stuff takes 3 or 4 months. It took us about 48 hours to make
incredible
get this thing put together. So they
the other
know
thing
how to work, and they did a great job with it. Yeah.
You know what? By doing what we're doing, it promotes both buying an RV and camping. And I'm not talking about Walmart camping or anything, but going to the campgrounds. We got KOA and Sun and Blue Water. And Blue Water operates several KOA. There's no campground that says Blue Water Development. They're the parent company of the KOA up in Salmon Falls and Winnipesaukee South, as well as the ones that Bob said up in Maine,
right.
Up in what do you call it? Old Orchard area.
Yep.
So that's the name of the game. And you know what? Look, I'm telling you, folks, if you got grandkids, take them camping. I mean, the magic in their eyes, and I learned it from Jim Rogers, who was the prior president at KOA. And you all know it, for those of you that camp. When you look at a little kid's eyes reflecting in that campfire, there's magic in those eyes. There's magic in those eyes when they take that stick and burn the hell out of a piece of marshmallow. And then, see, and with us, I eat the Hershey bars direct. I don't bother with the marshmallow. But
Jerry says, what about Blue Water Key in Florida? I don't know if that's a Blue Water development. Isn't that down at Key West, Jerry?
I think it's one of the newer ones.
Not going down to Key West, yeah. Oh, Mr. Swenson joined. Yeah. Abby wants to go with you. Watch out, John. Watch out, Mila. Abby wants to go. Tell the story about Abby.
Yeah, and here's another thing. Probably 6 or 7 years ago, we brought our grandkids up to the rally in Greenfield, and our two granddaughters bumped into Walter's granddaughter, and they see each other every year at a couple camping events, but they're friends. You know what? They don't live close to each other, but they all look forward to camping. Going on the playground and the swings and all that other stuff. And I think all of our audience can tell you that their kids or grandkids have met other kids at a campground, and nobody does a better job than Mr. Zagami of describing the feeling at a campground where you can kind of let your kids go out of your sight for a period of time and say that, Baba, because nobody says it better than you, to know that they're amongst like-minded people and they're safe.
Well, it's America as it used to be, a different time, and I kind of feel bad for the young adults now because they've kind of grown up in society as it is today. But we always felt when you went to the campground, it was like going to a different country because you didn't lock the doors, you knew your neighbors, you met everybody, you let the kids run off and they'd meet 5 or 10 friends. You'd tell them to come back at dinner time, which we used to do as kids, running around the streets of Somerville. And you don't see that. And it's a lost art of camping and the bonding, and people will find, and I'm sure Abby and Mila will be friends for life. They'll exchange cards, they'll visit each other occasionally. And we have many friends that we met in the campgrounds because people in campgrounds love the outdoors. They're very social. They respect the environment. They respect the neighbors, and they're not pretentious. They don't worry about whether you drive a Chevrolet or a Mercedes. They don't care whether you live in a $2 million mansion or a $150 a month apartment. That's just not something that they worry about. They're genuine people.
Hey, Bob, I have that conversation with my customers on a regular basis. We have these young families coming in and they have 6, 8, 10-year-old kids, right? And they're looking at this and dad and mom are looking at this as, oh man, it's going to add to my week. I got a busy enough week as it is, blah, blah, blah. And I try to settle them down and explain to them, you have a 6, an 8, and a 10-year-old, right? And there's going to be a group of about 5 or 6 kids, and there's going to be a 13 or 14-year-old girl, because they're usually more responsible than a 13 or 14-year-old boy. And they'll say, hey, can your kids come play with us, right? And then you'll see the person at the next campsite kind of wink at you like, it's okay to let your kids go. And then you have this 2-3 hour period of mom and dad can sit back and relax, talk about stuff they never get a chance to talk about, and just enjoy each other's company, sit by the fire, whatever it is. And it's that's the magic that happens with families, just those moments. And of course, you're going to want to spend time with your kids as well. but those brief moments that you get when it's just you as a couple sitting there being together, it's fantastic.
Well, one of the things that we want out of all of this isn't about John DiPietro or Bob Zagami or Nervder, or quite honestly, any of our.
Always about John.
At the end of the month, we want people to see the positive side of RVing and the reason why people go RVing. And John, there's nobody better on the interviews. When John interviews these people, it's going to come out why they do it, the family pleasure, the enjoyment, the traveling, the sightseeing, kids meeting kids. That's what I want people to remember on July 22nd. When they listen to us for a month and all these interviews and everything, I want to attract a lot more people into the industry to say, man, I never thought of it that way. And the hell with the gas prices and the hell with inflation. I'm going to do this with my family, and I'm going to do it before I die.
You have to.
Just live.
Yep.
Now, one thing here. Palange just became a father-in-law. Okay.
Wow.
Imagine that poor person that has to have him as a father-in-law.
That's right. He posted pictures of the wedding. Yeah.
By the way, Bob, I didn't see my invite. Did you? I must have missed it. It must have come late in the mail. How about you?
Yeah. No, I didn't see it. Maybe it went to my Florida address, and he just made a mistake on it. I'm going to scroll up here because I could have sworn your brother made it.
He did.
Oh, you did.
They're at
John. Be sure to stop at Buc-ee's in South. Yeah, that's the new one in Florida, South Carolina, and Daytona Beach. Sounds like a well-planned trip.
Now, I have to give him credit because he is coming
out
to drive it back. We just had to send our driver's license over to
Forest River.
Forest River, yeah. So, but he will be one of the relief drivers, one of the transport drivers.
Nice.
And so Jerry says, where in Outer Banks? Currituck Sound, Jerry. It's in the northern part of the Upper Banks. Currituck.
Is that the one that opened the campground to the first responders during COVID?
Yes. Yeah, that's how we know about them.
Right.
And they've been friends. What else happened here? I got to realize I'm not the co-host. I'm only the guest. Bob and you are exemplary in describing the greatness of RVing. Well, Lisa,
I think it's the passion that we all bring to it, whether it be Bernie on the sales side of the desk, the customer on the buying side. And, John and I have been camping for many years and have seen the results. People like Walter Swenson, who, Jerry, Frank, that they understand it. So we feel and I'm going to be back here, and I'll be doing Command Central and getting the videos posted, getting stories posted. But we want people to see what we already know. We want new people coming in. We don't want these negative stories that everybody's publishing, scaring people away from buying an RV. So buy the RV, rent the RV.
Go.
Just
you
go.
Never.
Walter,
who said something about I've never seen? I think Jerry said I've never heard anybody who's hired say I wish I spent more time at the office. Forget it.
Exactly.
Go.
Jerry says looking forward to it. Diesel prices are $6.50. I had a note the other day. Some of you remember Marty Hanoud from Marty's US RV, and he sold the Camping World down in Raynham. And Marty's always been a big boat guy. Is that you, DiPietro?
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I'll call him back.
Marty's a big boat guy. So he sent me, we feel bad as RVers. He sent me a note the other day, and he says, he was going somewhere. It was down the Cape. I don't know if he was going over to the islands or whatever. And he said, I filled up the boat. 500 gallons, $6.50 a gallon, $3,200.
And how long did it last? Probably not very long.
I don't know what he gets of the boat. Yeah, I'm not a boat guy. I don't understand that stuff. Well, we already did that one. All right, we are about out of time. So the schedule then, folks, just so you know, next 4 weeks, Bernie will be co-hosting. John will be reporting in. Follow our social media. Follow Campers In social media. You'll see how the tour is going, and if you think of places that you might suggest for John and his family to stop at, send them over to me or mention them in the show next week, and we will take care of that for you. Any closing statements, John, before you?
No, just
like I say, if you want to join them, July 23rd, June 23rd, around 10:30 at Campers Inn in Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Be there, guys. Yeah.
Great.
Hey, and thanks a lot for having me on the show. Really excited about it. And I know I'm in charge of procuring a steady flood of Chef Boyardee for John while he's on the road. So I'm working diligently at that. I'm checking with the Shanghai plant to see if they're open up again.
Yeah.
They did a little change to the recipe. Instead of Durham semolina, they use Detroit Simonella. And it tastes a little tangy, but it's good.
If you were a nice guy and appreciative of being able to sit in his seat for 4 weeks, you'd make damn sure that wherever he stops at Campers Inn, they make sure they refill his Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, we'll work something out. Yeah. Even if I have to substitute SpaghettiOs, I'll make it happen.
Hey, good night. Thanks for everything. All right, we'll do a quick commercial.
Do our ad, Bob.
Do your ad.
Yeah.
Which one should we do? Let's do the special. So our sponsor has been on. Let me get rid of Lisa's comment there. Sponsor has been Seacoast RVs, Route 1, Saco, Maine, and they are a Winnebago motorized dealer. They've got 2 brand new Rebels that just came in. But so if you buy a Winnebago motorhome that's in stock anytime between now and December 2022, you will get 2 first-class plane tickets, an overnight stay in a hotel, a first-class meal at a local restaurant, and it's got to be an in-stock unit, not a pre-owned one. It's got to be one of the new ones, and they are hot sellers. So the reason why he's doing it till December is these things go fast. So if you're in the market for a Winnebago Rebel, you have to stay in touch with the dealership to see what they have in stock and ready to go. So with that, we will play our closing video. Safe travels, folks. We will see you down the road.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.